Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to Stats in the Morning. Incredible news which has broken today. So obviously the long-standing interest of Alexander Isak of Liverpool. Today Liverpool have finally made an official approach for the Newcastle United Swedish star. So they made an approach today, and according to Fabrizio Romano in the late hours of today, Liverpool are prepared to offer Newcastle United £120 million. That is going to be their opening bid, and they're prepared to offer it. So whether we'll see Liverpool make that bid today, we'll see. It'll be very interesting. Newcastle United have said they don't want to sell Alexander Isak. However, everybody has a price. According to Newcastle United, maybe reports from them, £150 million is the price of Alexander Isak. Do I think Liverpool pay £150 million? No. £120 is already a British transfer record fee in the Premier League. However, Newcastle United do hold power here. They can simply say no. So we have to look at what's happened today, first of all. So yesterday, Newcastle United wanted to sign Hugo Ekitike, and they placed a bid which was rejected, around 80 million euros, I think £69.5 million. Liverpool have approached Newcastle United today. It's almost as if they've timed this perfectly. They've approached Newcastle today saying, we want to sign Alexander Isak. This was, I think, first broken by Fabrizio Romano. If Liverpool are unable to sign Alexander Isak, they will turn their attention to Hugo Ekitike, who's their second option. Basically, Liverpool are saying, if you don't give us Isak, we're going to take Ekitike from you. Newcastle obviously been desperate for that backup striker. They went for Cunha, he rejected. They went for Delap, he rejected. They went for João Pedro, he rejected. And maybe Ekitike is going to be the next one, because if it's between Newcastle and Liverpool, and he's going to be having a starting role at Liverpool, he's going to pick Liverpool. Links maybe of Chelsea being interested. However, Chelsea would have to offload Nicholas Jackson before they made the move. So Liverpool are basically saying, this is the time now that we're going to strike this deal if we can. If they put £120 million bid in, I think Newcastle will reject it. I think that if the bid starts to get to 135 million, Newcastle are going to sit down on the table and go, look, we have to assess this bid. Eddie Howe will say no, but it's not up to Eddie Howe. He doesn't run the football club. It's the Newcastle higher-ups who will say, we've had problems with PSR. We sell Alexander Isak for 130 million, for example. I know they say, wait, 150. Let's say it's 130 million. That's around 70 million pounds in profit. They've just agreed to sell Sean Longstaff today for around 12 million to Leeds. So that's pure profit because he's an academy player. On top of the 70 million pound profit for Alexander Isak, that would be around 140 million pounds in sales this summer. Newcastle United could, because of the way PSR works, they could then go sign Ekitike, Scalvini of Atlanta, James Trafford, Conor Gallagher, Jack Rodoni, maybe Harvey Elliott. Did I mention Ekitike as well? They could go sign all these players and they would still be plenty of money left to spend PSR wise. So this breaks Newcastle United's PSR issues, the amount of profit they're going to make, plus the fact that they've already sold Longstaff. The other alternative is Newcastle United say, no, we're not selling Alexander Isak. Liverpool sign Ekitike and Newcastle United have to look for their next backup option. If this happens, Newcastle United risk losing Isak next summer, and it could be an opportunity, a scenario where Newcastle United say, we have to sell him now. Liverpool are then get Ekitike, they have Isak, Newcastle United left with no one. Reports have been saying, I don't know how reliable this is, Isak was apparently upset with Newcastle for breaking the promise on the contract. Paul Mitchell, the previous sporting director, this is only reports, believed that Alexander Isak was paid well at Newcastle and didn't deserve a pay rise, and he was promised one at the end of the season. Obviously, Paul Mitchell's now left, so it's a bit of a mess. So maybe Alexander Isak's unhappy. I'm not sure. I don't think he's unhappy to the point where he wants to force a move. Newcastle now just want a trophy. Then the Champions League, they've given him what he wanted. But Fabrizio Romano said he hasn't closed the door. If the door was open, I think Isak would go, depending whether Newcastle United could agree a fee. I think 135 million will potentially do it. I think Liverpool could also be smart and say, we'll give you maybe 110 million pounds and we'll offer in Harvey Elliott as well. I think they'll offer value in Harvey Elliott around 40 to 50 million pounds. But realistically, if they want this deal to happen, they'll probably be, okay, 110 million, Harvey Elliott, bang. That's the 150 that Newcastle United want. Newcastle just sold Longstaff, so don't need another midfielder in Harvey Elliott. I think it's not a case of Newcastle United want to sell Alexander Isak, but it's a understanding that, look, this is what's going to be best for our football club. We saw it happen with Felipe Coutinho. You take that money, you reinvest in it. We've seen so many times where clubs sell their best player and they're able to sort of kick on. Obviously, Newcastle United's best player by a landslide is Alexander Isak. When he has a bad game, Newcastle United barely score goals. If Newcastle United bring Hugo Ekitike in, Ekitike, I'll look at it like this. When Alexander Isak came into Newcastle United, he scored 6 goals in his previous season. People were saying he was going to flop at Newcastle. It's a massive price tag. Eddie Howe is the one that developed him into the player he is today. People are calling Ekitike a baby Isak in terms of the way he moves, the similar running in terms of his physique. He's very tall, again, quite lanky. If Ekitike can turn into that next Alexander Isak, with Eddie Howe's development, I believe he can. So I think Newcastle United should reluctantly consider doing this deal. I think 120 would not be a good deal for Newcastle. They need to go higher than that. But if this deal is there to be happen, I think it will happen. As long as Newcastle sign Ekitike, they can't risk, for example, selling Isak and then Chelsea coming swooping for Ekitike, which would be absolutely just painful for them. But also, they can't risk, for example, Liverpool signing Ekitike this summer, Liverpool signing Isak next summer, Newcastle having no one, and then they go backwards. So this is going to be an incredibly fascinating way to see this plays out. If I'm Newcastle United, I've said it before, 135, 140 million, or maybe 110 plus Harvey Elliott, I'll go then take that money, along with the fact that they sold Longstaff, and go, right, we need a centre-back, we're going to get Scalvini. We need a striker, we're going to get Ekitike. We want a backup striker, we're going to go get Vissa. We want the goalkeeper situation, we're going to sort out Trafford. We need another midfielder, we've obviously just got Harvey Elliott in. We're going to go and get maybe Jack Rodoni from Coventry, or Conor Gallagher from Atletico Madrid. We need a fullback because Trippier's getting old, we're going to go get this guy. Maybe 2 fullbacks, maybe Leif Davies from Mr. Then Newcastle can go bang, 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 fill their squad up completely and go, right, now we've got a good enough squad to compete on all fronts. Yes, we don't have the superstar striker in Alexander Isak, but we've got options all across the pitch. We've got 2 good goalkeepers, we've got 4 good fullbacks, we've got 4 good centre-backs, 6 good midfielders, 2 good left wingers, 2 good right wingers, 2 good strikers. Yeah, I think it's such a difficult one, but it is the chain order. Liverpool are the biggest right now. They can say to Newcastle, they're bullying Newcastle with what they've done with this Ekitike situation. I think Newcastle United will reluctantly have to do it, and it's not up to Eddie Howe, it's up to the Newcastle higher-ups. Eddie Howe didn't want to sell Elliot Anderson. The higher-ups said, no, this is what's going to happen. Newcastle United didn't want to sell Lloyd Kelly. It was a higher-ups decision. So if this comes to a higher-ups decision, Eddie Howe won't quit over this. I'm not saying he will. He'll be very annoyed about it, but he'll have to understand it, and he'll get the money, and Newcastle can go bang, 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 bang. And Liverpool will look absolutely incredible and the favourites for the Premier League, and Newcastle United can strengthen their squad incredibly to the point where, yes, they've lost that 25-goal striker. They're going to try and make Ekitike into that. They'll go and be able to compete on 4 competitions, in my opinion, Newcastle, if they spend this money right. And Eddie Howe can potentially develop Ekitike into that 20-goal striker. And then the same thing happens again maybe in a couple of years. Or maybe Newcastle United are good enough to compete for the title in 2-3 years' time. Incredible scenario, incredible story. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.